All right, welcome to the editing gauntlet. Here we go. This entire month of February 2026 is going to be spent doing so much fucking editing. So much editing. I'm going to be sick of looking at these stories by the end of the month. That's what I anticipate. So, hello. My name's Colton Woods. If you don't know who I am, I'm the creator of Strange Trails, a full cast audio drama in the style of Serial. The first season of this mystery show is available on any podcast platform for free if you want to listen. This channel is me working toward making season 2 of the show and working on the novelizations of the seasons as I go along. Currently, I am going all the way back to season 1, book 1. I'm going to do a deep edit on it. I'm going to cut it up and I'm going to tear it apart, anything I need to do, because I'm sending it to an editor in August. This is the last opportunity I'm going to have to look at it for more than a couple minutes at a time before I send it to them. So I have to make it count. And that's going to be tough because normally when I look at editing stuff, I end up kind of just getting sucked into the story and I don't end up making all that many edits. I just go, hey, it reads like a book. I'm kind of enjoying this. I can't do that this time. I know going into it, first of all, there is one scene I do need to add. There's a scene where in the actual podcast itself, it's in the show. Like you'll hear it, but there's a scene in particular that they don't have the recorder with them. They cannot record that scene. And it's sort of glossed over in the show. I don't think it should be glossed over in the book. I think in the book we can see it. So we're going to see that scene. I have to write that scene. I don't know everything that happens in it, but we're going to have at least one additional scene added somewhere in this book. And I know that in the original version of these books, I didn't do very much point of view. It's all through the perspective of Finn, the main character, who is narrating his little studio segments, kind of giving context for what it is, what clips were included in the show and what he decided to kind of skip over because it wasn't important. In doing that, there's a lot of framing for the studio segments of the show, and in the book, those are heavily featured. In this first book, you're going to see a lot of studio segments, like cutaways to the studio segment of him recording the actual, basically, narration that you would hear in the show, and there are the scenes showing the actual interviews of him and Omari meeting with the different people of the town of Garrison. And I don't think I did very much interiority of his perspective in this book. Like, I just think that I was writing it very, very third person omniscient, like kind of just we're seeing just sort of everything. And there's no actual like emotional stuff kind of like, it's just not filtered through his lens basically. And I think I need to try to do that. So I do think this will be a pretty hefty edit because it's 102,000 words, which is by far the shortest of any of the Strange Trails books. So that's good. At least I'm starting off small, but like it is going to be, that's still not nothing. That's a lot of stuff to try to do in about 2 weeks I'm giving myself for this book. And then I got to do book 2 at the second half of February. So February is going to be loaded up with editing, so much editing, and I don't know how heavy and in-depth it's going to be, but I'm trying to prep myself for like, no, you're going into the trenches here. This is going to be a big one. So let's do the big one. Okay, so it's a couple hours later. I am about halfway through the first episode. It's about 40 pages long. I'm on page 22 currently. These edits are going to take a while, though I will say it actually is reading pretty well. I was head hopping like so much. Like I was like giving stuff from Finn's perspective, stuff from Omari's perspective, stuff from other characters that they're interviewing for the first time's perspective. Like it's just, it all has to get like cut and trimmed. There's so far there's been one specific like interiority thing from Omari's perspective that I had to cut, that I'm kind of sad I had to cut because it's him meeting I guess I can say it's literally in the first episode of the show. It's him meeting Jordan for the first time, and it's from Omari's perspective for just that little like moment of the meeting, and you kind of understand where Omari's coming from and how Omari views Jordan. I had to cut it. I don't think anything in book 1 is going to be from Omari's perspective. I think it's all Finn's perspective. Finn's in literally every single scene of book 1. Book 2, we start seeing scenes with Omari by himself doing stuff. So then we can start getting Omari's perspective. But I think all of book one, I have to just do Finn, which means I did have to cut it out. And that sucks because I really liked it. It was literally just one line, but I had to cut it. So far, I'm just over 103,000 words now. So I've added a few hundred words here and there. In the first just like 20 pages of trying to get more interiority and trying to make sure that things are described properly. Also something that I did decide to do that I've never done before is make a list of every single main character and their attributes, like ways that I describe their voice, ways that they are physically described, their affect, their disposition, all that stuff. Things that it will help me going book to book to make sure that I'm being consistent in their descriptions, because things like eye color, whatever, like I don't want to have to go, find and type in different colors and hope that it pops up in like a reasonable amount of time. I would rather just have that all set aside. And I've just never thought to do that before, but it does make sense that if I'm going to do this deep dive, you might as well, while you're in there tinkering around, take notes. So I have character profiles for Finn, Omari, and Jordan. That's all I've gotten. I'm going to end up having Ava at some point, and Jesse too, I believe, will end up somewhere in episode 1, I think. At this rate, if I'm only able to do like 20 pages a day, the book itself is 360 pages right now. I'm on page 22. If I can do basically 22 pages a day, that's 16 days, which is more than half the month. And then I still have to try to do book 2 in the same month. And it is longer than book 1. So I don't know if the time, and I'm not even going to be able to work on it every single day. Because of my work schedule. So it's going to be tight trying to finish this by the end of February. I don't know. And I don't want to rush it because this is, as I've explained a few times, this is the last opportunity. I'm going to have to look at this before I send it to an editor for a final, a full on, let's go edit. So, I do want to make sure that I'm doing it justice. So, that does make me a little nervous about the timeline. I might have to extend the deadline a bit if this is how things play out, but it's not even February yet. It is January 31st. I'm a day early and I'm already worrying about whether or not I'm going to hit this next deadline. That's how my mind works. I can't just enjoy things. So we're going to do what we can and we will see where we land. All right. I'll see you next time I get a chance to work on this. Well, hello there. It has been a while since I've made a clip. It's currently Thursday, February 12th. It's been over a week since I've made a clip. That's crazy. My bad. I just have not had all that much to say when I'm in editing mode, it turns out. I kind of just go in, do my work, and then that's it for the day. But overall, I've been enjoying this. I'm down to the last 15 pages of book 1. So I'm actually on track to finish it within the time frame that I gave myself to do this read through. I'm feeling good about it. I've added quite a bit to it. So with, book 4, I think in total I added about 1,300 words over the course of the entire read through. And that was on a 130,000 word book. This book is currently, it's at 109,000 words. So I've been adding roughly 1,000 words per chapter. And that's just for point of view stuff. That's for interiority stuff and extra scene description, stuff like that. So this has been a much more intense, more thorough edit than the one that I did for book 4 was. And I'm feeling like it's paid off. I don't know if I'll get a chance to go through and actually read it now that I'm doing it, but maybe, I wonder if maybe at the end of the month. Because basically, once I'm done with this, I got to jump right into book 2. I got to get going on book 2. But potentially, after I finish book 2, I could take a few days and just read through both books real quick and just see how they play. So we'll see. Overall, I've found that, especially toward the end, I'm kind of not really needing to add all that much. And I don't know if that's me just getting to the end of the edit and kind of feeling tired of doing it and just not adding stuff. I hope that's not the case. But most of the stuff that I added came in the first few chapters of the book. In one chapter, there was a scene that I had to add, which I knew going into it I was going to add this scene because it's a point where they don't have the recorder, but we are technically with the characters in the story, so we might as well see what they're up to. So I did add that scene. That went pretty well. It was shorter than I expected it to be, so it didn't really take all that long to do. But yeah, I feel good about that. It's so weird going back to book one, because by the time you get to, I finished writing season 5 in November, and then I wrote book 4 all through December and January, where it's like huge ensemble scenes. It's all these new characters, all this like really intricate stuff. And then to go back to book 1, season 1, where it's very simple, the story, compared to these later seasons. And it just feels like I, yeah, I don't know. It's a totally different vibe. And it's like uh, it's so interesting how the story feels simpler, and it like overall it is like, I would say that like a lot of the reasoning for things and stuff like that is way less complicated in book 1, because there weren't all these a million subplots that in later seasons, I'm tying together way more subplots than I was in season 1. Like season 1 had, I think, like 2 subplots, and I just had to kind of do like a little simple braid to get them to match over with the main plot. They stop working like that in later seasons. I don't know how that will play out in book 2 when I get to that one, but yeah, I don't know. I I will say this. I have a newfound appreciation for season 1. It's very creepy. The other seasons don't try to do that as much. It is not about being creepy in the same way. Season 1, I have a newfound appreciation for it. Like, because I always was like, oh yeah, season 1 was good, but like 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 5. But like, I kind of think 1 actually really holds its own. Like, it's not a bad season at all. So, like, I don't have any complaints about season 1. I actually think that it really was effective. And, you could go listen to it right now if you want to. The story's going to be the same. It's just going to be written in prose. So, yeah, I'm going to read these last 15 pages. This is like the very tail end of the story, so I assume that it will be a fun little situation. Okay, I'm back. I just finished it. It actually was 25 pages, not 15 pages, because math is not my strong suit. So it took a little longer to read than I thought, but it was the finale, and it was so good. I just finished, like, God, it's such a good, like, solid ending. I love it. The total word count for book 1 at this point in this version is 109,419 words, which is great. That is like, I feel like I added a substantial amount to the story to kind of fill it out in ways that, make it a little bit more immersive for whoever's reading it. So I'm feeling good about the word count, actually. And I know that all the other books are longer than this, so they're probably going to, balloon even more when I go through and do like a deep edit like this. But I feel like this was like the right amount of stuff to add to it. I'm sure that I could always find a little bit more to add, to be honest, but overall, I think it's good. I really love the finale. I love the finale. I like the way that it all kind of comes together. I think that it's a really strong story. And I think this whole thing went a lot smoother than I expected it to. Also, I kind of thought I was going to struggle more with figuring out what edits make sense and what to add to each scene, and, how to give more interiority and stuff. But overall, I do think that I was able to pull it off relatively easily. It didn't take the full 2 weeks that I had given myself for it, so that's great. But also, I found myself just actually enjoying the story, even though I was going through as critically as I could and editing it. I just kept being impressed with, like, wow, this story really did something that, and I forgot I did that. I don't remember writing that. So it ties together all these little things, all these little details. They show up again, if like any sort of Chekhov's gun. I know that Chekhov's gun is like sort of like an overused phrase a little bit, but that's basically what it is. Like anything like that where there is some setup, there is a payoff to it, and I appreciate that. I think that Pas Colton, who was planning this out, did a very good job with it, and Pas Colton, who was writing it, also did a good job with it, because editing Colton right now did not have to adjust any plot stuff. It was really just adding some some basic details so that it could feel more like you're in the characters' heads to an extent. So yeah, I'm going to end this video here, and probably tomorrow I will start working on book 2, Deep Edits, so that I can get that one into shape too. That one I have only read one time, so I do not know what to expect from that book. Like, I hope that that one is written in the same way that this one was, because this one was actually pretty nice, but I'll find out probably starting tomorrow. So I'll see you in the next video where we dive into editing book 2 of Strange Trails.